In my blog, I've talked about the fact that our commitments to our children as a foster parent or a step parent have to be one way. We have to be willing to do all of the work of having a relationship with them, regardless of how they treat us. But unconditional commitments are not the same as unlimited or having no boundaries. Commitments are important for our children, but limits are important too, and healthy boundaries. First, we have to know our limits. As a foster parent, for example, I never had the skill set to take on a medically fragile child. I had the skill set to deal with teenagers or runaways, but a child who had medical issues was simply beyond my skill set, and it would have been dangerous for the child for me to take on that commitment. Similarly, at times we can't promise to, or at times I couldn't promise to take in a child long term. My work situation and family situation were such that all I could promise was to be a short term or respite care and provide a way station on the child's way to somewhere more permanent. Those limited commitments have value in the system, and we need to just be upfront that those are the values and the commitments that we can make. The important thing is to know our limits up front. And that's particularly important as a step parent, because if, for example, you're marrying a person who doesn't have custody of their children and you expect to be just a weekend parent, that could change any day and any moment. So you need to understand what your limits are if that happens. And if you are not willing to make the commitment to be a part of that family in whatever situation it looks like, then don't make the commitment. If you are not willing to help parent children, then don't get involved. Don't make promises that you are not able to keep. On the other hand, if you are willing to make that commitment and to be part of that family, for whatever, for better or for worse, then you also need to learn how to set boundaries. Now, every healthy relationship has a boundary. My husband, for example, and I, we promised to be married till death do us part, which is a pretty unlimited commitment. But we both know that if one of us starts running guns for the mafia or becomes abusive, then our marriage will end. We are strong enough in our knowledge of each other to believe that it won't come to that. But we didn't even have to set out that commitment or that boundary on our commitment because we just know what it is. Children, however, don't have those same life experiences to know what the unspoken boundaries are. You have to be very clear and upfront with kids. And you have to tell them these are the boundaries and these are the consequences if you break those boundaries. I, for example, have always said to kids, I am willing to discuss anything, but I do not tolerate profanity directed at me. So if a child violates that boundary, I just end the conversation and say, we'll discuss this later. Similarly, with foster placements, I've always been able to explain to kids, if you become a danger to yourself, if I cannot keep you safe any longer, then we'll have to find another placement where they can lock up the knives and keep you safe from yourself. We need to be able to say to our children, I will be here for you, but if you break these boundaries, then this is what the consequence is. That doesn't mean that our commitment is limited or any less. It simply means that we are willing to protect our commitment with strong boundaries. Children need to know that. It doesn't help if we don't care about them, but by the same token, it doesn't help them for us to be doormats and put up with whatever they throw our way. So whatever situation you're in, as either a foster parent or a step parent or kinship care, make sure your children know that you love them, that you are willing to make a one-way commitment, but that it has limits and boundaries and consequences.